9th and requested support for Busan's bid to host the 2030 World Expo. On the 10th, the National Assembly conveyed through a press release that Speaker Kim has sequentially met with President LCC, Speaker of the House of Representatives Gabali, and Senate Speaker Abdel Razak to request support for the Busan Expo. Emphasizing that both the government and private sectors are united in their efforts for Busan's bid, Speaker Kim said. Through the Busan Expo, we aim to share our experiences in democratization and economic growth. He also asked Egypt to participate in the Korea-Africa Summit scheduled for next June in Seoul. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, MOLIT, announced on the 10th that they would be hosting the 11th International Public Transport Policy Forum at Bexco in Busan. This annual forum aims to promote the achievements of South Korea's public transportation policies and share successful public transport services and case studies with experts from academia and research fields in major countries. To prevent lease fraud damages, the city of Busan has decided to provide a free consultation service related to jeonse and monthly rent contracts. Busan City announced that starting from the 12th, they will offer a free lease contract coaching services every Tuesday and Thursday at the Busan Lease Damage Support Center, located on the first floor of the Busan City Hall. Real estate experts will provide tailored support services, including housing rental consultations, review of lease and monthly rent prices, and provision of region-specific lease rate information. In international news, the death toll from the severe earthquakes that hit Afghanistan on Saturday has reportedly risen to more than 4,500. The Spanish news outlet EFE reported on Monday that Taliban representatives provided this estimate. The Afghan Ministry for Disaster Management allegedly stated that around 2,400 people died, while approximately 2,000 were injured. A ministry representative mentioned that 35 teams are on search missions and warned that the casualty count is likely to grow. Authorities have warned of an impending humanitarian disaster in the Gaza Strip if it doesn't receive essential supplies in the wake of Israel's retaliation to Hamas's offensives. Israel announced a full blockade of the region on Monday, cutting off crucial supplies like electricity, food, water, and fuel. Residents claim that no aid has been delivered to the territory since the weekend. And now taking a quick look at the weather, it's currently 24 degrees Celsius. Light breeze can be felt today under clear skies. Fine dust levels and ultrafine dust levels are good. And it's time to wrap up this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is Steve Hatherly Reboot. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
What you're about to hear is amazing. That's because you're locked in to Busan's #1 English radio station. Whether you're at home, at work, or driving in your car, you will be exposed to radio excellence. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because it starts right now.
On January 29th, back in 1886, Carl Benz applied for a patent for his, quote, vehicle powered by a gas engine. The patent, number 37435, may be regarded as the birth certificate of the automobile. In July of 1886, the newspapers reported on the first public outing of the three-wheel Benz patent motor car, model number 1. But what if that never happened? What if we never had cars in our lives? Would that be a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think? It's Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. I'm Steve Hatherly. This is Steve Hatherly Reboot. Let's go. That was Bon Jovi, You Give Love a Bad Name. And that was the first single. That was his video for the first single, Runaway. That was a conceptual clip with lots of smoke and a young girl portraying the title character. Now, that concept didn't really catch on. So for You Give Love a Bad Name, the band made a straight-on performance video showcasing their charisma and live energy. So they thought, for Runaway, let's do a lot of smoke and mirrors. And people thought, it wasn't really good. So it was just straight-up Bon Jovi for the next video, and people loved it. This one was a winner on MTV. It played the clip constantly, and it helped send the song to the top of the charts. The follow-up single, Living on a Prayer, also a huge hit. Also a #1 hit, spending 4 weeks at the top spot, while Bad Name just spent 1. That album, what was it called? Slippery When Wet? That was it. That was so good, right? Anyway, that tune got us into the show today. We are live in the studio from Busan on this Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the show, everyone. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan, 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas, in Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3, and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. I'm your host, Steve Hatherly. Thank you very much for being with us today. No more holidays till Christmas. You've seen it, right? I was talking about it this morning on the show. I didn't realize it until I was starting the morning show. Listen to the Boombox, BEFM 90.5, 9 to 10 a.m. Monday to Friday. Thank you for doing so. And just before the show started, I was like, wait, when's the next holiday? So I just grabbed my phone quickly, scrolling, okay, October, going through November, nope, and through December, nope, Christmas, that's the next one. So, start our Christmas shopping now? I guess so. I don't know. We need something to look forward to. It's human nature, right? Pardon me. We always need something to look forward to next on the calendar, or at least on our life calendar. So on our calendar, we have a lot of time to wait before something exciting comes again. And of course, that's only if you celebrate Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, then that's not an exciting time for you at all, I suppose. Anyway, the point is, it's a long time until our next break, so time to buckle up and get back to work. And don't complain. I said that this morning as well. Don't complain about it, because we did. We had a great time off for Chuseok, and then we had a long weekend following that holiday. So really, there's nothing too much that we can complain about. Anyway, I hope you had a good day off yesterday. The weather was really good for it. And now we're into Tuesday of this week, 10th day of October. And let's talk about what's on the show this afternoon. Quick note about YouTube. You can go over to youtube.com. You can watch our live stream there, and you can do so until the songs start to play. And once they start to play, they will fade out immediately. And when they do that, you can go over to your app, open up the BEFM app. You can listen to the songs there, or of course, you can listen through FM radio as well. We know that's not ultra convenient for you. We apologize for it, and we appreciate your patience there as well. By the way, did you notice my t-shirt if you're watching our live stream? This is the only t-shirt I have that says Nova Scotia on it, yes, but it also says Tattamagush on it. Tattamagush Brewing. We don't have a lot in Tattamagush, Nova Scotia, but we do have a brewery, and the beer is pretty good, as a matter of fact. So yes, I am proudly representing Tattamagush Brewing Co. It's a bright orange and navy blue t-shirt, and I'm happy to say that I'm wearing it today. If you do ever go to Tattamagush, Nova Scotia, make sure you stop by the beer company. Well, you kind of have to stop by the beer company, because there's only one street, and it's on that street. And it's right. If you do, pop in and say hi to my mom, because it's right across the street from my mom's clothing store as well. But I was laughing because as I was thinking about that, everything is across the street from my mom's clothing store, because Tattamagush is such a small space. Yeah, so there you go. That's my fashion style for today. I rarely wear this t-shirt because I don't want it to wear out. Do you know what I mean? I wear my t-shirts like on heavy rotation, the ones that I like, and I know that they're going to run out really quickly. And the reason I don't wear this one very often is because I want it to last for a really, really, really long time. All right, let's get into what's on the show today. Coming up in hour number 1, we'll kick things off with today's Hot Off the Press. You'll hear some trendy music that has been newly released. I'll give you a little bit about the artist and, of course, about the track as well. Then, for Officially Amazing, Melissa will be in the studio to guide guide us through some stories of amazing people, amazing accomplishments, or amazing feats from years gone by. Melissa will stay with me for what remains of hour number one. Then, coming up in hour number two, oh my goodness, this was very much a surprise to me. Did you know, we've talked about flying cars before, right? I mean, we go back to the Future and the concept of the DeLorean, the flying car, but we never thought that it would be in our reality. Did we? In our lifetime? At least I didn't, but they aren't that far away. As a matter of fact, the first flying car in the United States has been approved by the FAA. That's the Federal Aviation Administration, and I'll give you all the details on how it works and what kind of car it is and how fast or not it can go. And it's a pretty cool thing to know that we're not very far away from flying cars. I won't give you the year just yet, but you don't have to flip too far ahead on the calendar for the first flying cars, legal flying cars in the United States. That'll be our fun fact of the day. Then for tomorrow today, I don't know if you have any friends in Singapore, but if you do have friends in Singapore, I wonder if they own a car. And the reason I ask that is because Singapore is if not the most expensive, one of the most expensive cities in the world to own a car, because not only do you have to buy the car, you have to pay for something else to pay for the car. So it's something that you need, like a certificate, to say, yes, I can buy a car. Once you pay for that, then you can pay for the car. It is insanely expensive. There's no way if I lived in Singapore I would ever be able to afford a car. So we can be thankful that we don't have to pay for that certificate in Korea like they do in Singapore. I'll tell you that story for tomorrow today. Then we'll have Today in Music. We'll find out what happened in today's music history, and I'll check your messages throughout the program as well. All right, question of the day today. And I was talking about this in the opening of the show, right? Back in 1886, Carl Benz applied for a patent for his, quote, vehicle powered by a gas engine. And that really got the wheels turning, pun intended, for the auto industry. But what if cars didn't exist? Do you think the world would be a better place, or would it not? It would definitely be a cleaner place. Would we be able to live with the inconvenience of not having cars in our lives? Would it be better for us overall because we'd have to take public transportation wherever we went? I'm not saying that the technology never existed, like the technology was never created. No, I just mean personal cars. For example, they suddenly become illegal and we can't use them anymore. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Let me know your opinion on that. 갑자기 차가 사라진다면 행복하신가요? 또는 아니신가요? Think about your answers and then share them with me. You can give me your opinion on that. Text me pounder sharp 9050. That will cost you 100 won on your cellular phone. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send in messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. We'll have a break, and when we come back, we'll get into today's Hot Off the Press. First, here is CCR, Fortunate Son. That was Creedence Clearwater Revival with Fortunate Son. We are back, and it's time for today's Hot Off the Press, where from Monday to Friday, we bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. And a lot of songs get released every week. We pick out a couple each day that we hope that you'll enjoy. We'll start today with Felix Jean and Jonas Blue, Past Life. In the vibrant realm of electronic music, Felix Jean has been riding the waves of success, and his latest track, Past Life, in collaboration with Jonas Blue, well, this is no exception. This tune is a delightful mix of electronic and pop, creating a vibe that's pretty irresistible to anyone who gives it a listen. Past Life is more than just another track. It's a celebration of Felix Jean's musical journey and a shining example of his creative genius, adding yet another feather to his already well-feathered cap. After that, we'll hear Holly Humberstone. This track is called Into Your Room. Ahead of her highly anticipated debut album, Paint My Bedroom Black, it's coming out on October 13th. We are mere hours away from that release. Holly Humberstone taps into 1980s electronica on her latest single, Into Your Room. The song explores the brighter side to Humberstone's music and showcases the duality of the album. Produced by Ethan Gruska, the track fuses vintage electronica with breezy driving beats. Sounds like we've got two good tunes on the way for today's Hot Off the Press. Let's get to them. Felix Jean and Jonas Blue, Past Life, and then Holly Humberstone, Into Your Room.
Did you wake up and feel
Those were our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today. Holly Humberstone, Into Your Room, and Felix Jean and Jonas Blue, Past Life. Our question of the day today, I'll remind you of that. I want to know your opinion on cars. Or should I say, if they didn't exist anymore. Would that be a good thing or a bad thing? Suddenly cars don't exist anymore. Are you happy about that or are you not? 갑자기 차가 사라진다면 행복하신가요? 또는 아니신가요? Neil says if there are no cars, we could ride environmentally friendly personal vehicles. Lots of personal vehicles and even bicycles on the street. So I like it. Yeah, I see your point. If there were no more cars, if they were suddenly made illegal, then our roads would all of a sudden become free. And the roads would be free for things like bicycles, or perhaps you could build some trams on those streets, maybe some environmentally friendly trams. Imagine all of the space that would suddenly become available to us if there were no more cars. I don't know the statistics on this, but imagine how much of a city is actually consumed by roads. If those roads ceased to exist, and you put parks or paths or whatever in there with trees, more trees for the city, I don't know. I think it would look pretty amazing. Good point there, Neil. But Hisuk says, if cars are gone, then how are we going to get around? It would be super inconvenient. It's true. It would be. People would be leaving for work a lot earlier in the morning than they do now if cars ceased to exist. It's kind of a fun question to think about. So share your opinion with me. Text me #, 9050. That will cost you 100 won. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. Officially amazing time, and the officially amazing Melissa has joined us in the studio once again. How you doing this week, Melissa?
I am doing pretty good. Thank you, Steve.
What do you think? If cars ceased to exist, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
If I'm living in Busan, it's a great thing. We have excellent public transportation here. And then also, I would not almost die every time I tried to cross the street because of people running red lights.
Yeah,
I would
okay.
love it. Yeah. We have a great subway. There are a lot of buses, assuming that we don't include buses in this no cars. But yeah, great public transportation. No problem. I'd be happy.
I think we can keep buses in this scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can keep buses. It's just cars. Personal automobiles are gone. So you'd be okay with this?
I would be completely okay. Because anyway, I usually take the subway. I love the subway. I don't even take buses because I get so motion sick usually. So I just, yeah.
You get motion sick on the bus even if you don't read or anything like that?
Motion sick. Yeah, I'm the person who people probably look at me and are like, "Oh, look at that foreigner. She had all the soju before she got on the bus," because I'm like falling down. But depending on what bus you take, they sometimes don't even like fully stop. They just like slow down and open the door and they want you to jump out.
Yes.
And I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna die or break my ankle. So
one vote for no cars then.
Yes, definitely.
Understood. All right, it is time for some stories of amazing people or amazing accomplishments or amazing feats from years gone by. Melissa, what are we learning about today?
We just had a bunch of holidays where people typically meet their family members. And when meeting younger family members, particularly teenagers, you might have been asking yourself, what language are they speaking?
Oh, yes, right.
Right, because languages are always changing and the new slang, trendy words, they always evolve. So today I want to introduce some amazing or, perhaps amazingly confusing new vocabulary. And the first two words are actually Taylor Swift related. So Swifties might already be familiar. This is the dusty ex-boyfriend effect. Have you heard of this?
We're about to learn about it. Dusty ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
It sounds so rude, doesn't it? I've not heard of it before, so let's learn what it is.
Taylor Swift is going to marry Travis Kelce, and how I know this is the dusty ex-boyfriend effect, which I completely made up, but 100% believe in. It's when you're in a really long-term, unfulfilling relationship, and then you guys break up, and you get this like new freedom, and then you date like a total loser, and then directly after the breakup with the total loser, you meet your husband.
Oh, is that accurate?
Well, it's not for me, but a lot of people online have said they think it is true.
It's so funny. So you date a guy, right? And then that doesn't go well. So, or
For
you
a long time.
Wait, you have a pretty good relationship.
Yes.
And you date that person for a long time, but it ends. Then after that, you will inevitably date a loser.
Yes.
And then after breaking up with the loser, that's when you'll meet your husband.
Exactly. That is the dusty ex-boyfriend effect.
Okay.
So for a little bit of background, if you're not a Swiftie, Taylor Swift, she dated her ex, Joe Alwyn, 6 years. That's a long time.
Who's Joel Alwyn?
He is an actor. I believe he's British. Anyway, he was with Taylor Swift a very long time. A very private relationship, actually. That was also pandemic time. They broke up. Shortly after that, she had a very short relationship with a boy band musician. That's ex-boyfriend Matt Healy, and he didn't just
he's the lead singer of the 1975, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so T-Swift fans, they thought he was a bad match for Taylor. He was not marriage material for her. And so according to this theory, Matt Healy, he was Dusty. He would be the one we would call the Dusty. And so now Taylor Swift is rumored to be dating American football player Travis Kelce.
She's even flying with the team on the team plane.
Oh, I didn't know she was on the team plane. Okay.
Yeah, this is huge news, not only in the world of Taylor Swift fans, in the NFL.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very good for the NFL because it's a lot of promotion, right?
Yes, exactly. New fan base.
Yeah. So people expect she's going to marry Travis because of the Dusty ex-boyfriend. So, yeah, they said Travis is marriage material, according to the theory.
I'm not familiar with her ex-boyfriend list, but I think there's a lot of singers on there, right?
Yes. Calvin Harris, one of my favorite singers. He was on there. Yes. Was it One Direction?
Harry Styles?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
John Mayer was in there as well. And then Matty Healy, apparently. I didn't know about that one. But yeah, Travis Kelce is an athlete. He's a football player, but he's not a musician and he's not a Hollywood type.
Right.
So he's a celebrity in his own right in the football realm.
Yes.
So this could actually potentially really work.
Yes. It has potential. I have no idea what Taylor Swift thinks. But anyway, she did go to a Kansas City Chiefs game. That's the football team Travis Kelce plays for. Her presence was all over the live broadcast of the game. It was in gossip columns, social media. Now, at that game Taylor Swift went to, her choice of sauce for chicken, it made a huge impact.
Oh, no.
And there's another amazing new phrase that you should know, seemingly ranch.
The expression is seemingly ranch?
Yes.
Okay.
It is seemingly ranch.
So this is in reference to the sauce that she was eating with her chicken at the actual football game.
Yes. So there was a social media user. They either took the photo or found this photo of Taylor's chicken, and they captioned it, Taylor Swift was eating a piece of chicken with ketchup and seemingly ranch.
Seemingly ranch.
And so now, ranch, it's not super common as a chicken condiment. But, now it's becoming popular. Social media users are saying you got to invest in seemingly ranch.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
And, so now they're saying use seemingly ranch for chicken, fries, crackers, everything.
I wonder what it's like to be that level of famous where you're at a public event. And when I watched that football game.
Oh, you did watch the full game. His touchdown.
That was this week. I think he scored a game. I don't know if he scored last week.
Maybe that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Anyway, the game that I saw was a couple of weeks ago, not this week. But the camera, and this is a football game, this is the NFL, the camera would not stop going to Taylor Swift in the press box where she was sitting with Travis Kelce's mother.
Okay.
And as a football fan, in the beginning I was like, oh, interesting. And then I was like, okay, that's enough. And then that's enough. Stop. It was just nonstop. The power that she has, the influence that she has. And when you're that level of famous, people even care what type of sauce you're eating with your chicken.
They do.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
It's kind of like the Super Bowl, right? When
The Super Bowl of sauces?
Well, when Rihanna was the halftime performance and people were like, who's playing at the Super Bowl? And they were like, Rihanna. What are the teams? I don't know. I
Nobody
only watch
cares.
because of Rihanna, right? It's like, who's playing with the Kansas City Chiefs? I don't know. Taylor Swift is there.
Yeah, and the statistics came in. I don't have them in front of me right now, but there was a sudden spike in viewership for that game.
I believe it.
With women between the ages of like 16 and 36 or something like that. Like the NFL had never seen a spike like that in viewership.
Right? Because typically that demographic is not super interested in the NFL.
Yeah, and I was chatting about this. This became a hot topic everywhere because the football shows that I listen to football radio shows. The football shows that I listen to, they were talking about it. Even in my football group chats, we were talking about it in our group chats, like the Taylor Swift effect. And we were having a discussion. They on the radio shows were saying, this is really great for the sport because it's introducing the game of American football to a whole new group of people.
Oh, yes.
And I kind of argued, yeah, that's true. They did turn on the television, but I don't think they cared why they were turning on the television necessarily. I think they just maybe saw her Insta and just kind of say, oh, that's on TV right now? Like, let me turn that on. If it does lead to more fans in the future, that's a really wonderful thing. I'm just talking about that initial that initial spike.
Right.
Still, the Taylor effect is very, very real.
It's huge.
Let's have a break, and when we come back, we'll learn more about what young people are saying. What was the first one? A dusty ex-boyfriend?
Yes, dusty ex-boyfriend effect.
Oh. Hope I've never been that.
Well, yeah, who do we talk to? Is Steve dusty? We need to know.
Here's Taylor Swift, You Belong With Me. Taylor Swift, You Belong With Me. And today with Melissa in Officially Amazing, we are getting caught up in youth, the vocabulary of the youth.
Mm-hmm.
That
Definitely.
sounds such an old person thing to say. The vocabulary of the youth in the year 2023. All right, give us another one on your list.
Okay, so here's a useful one. Sad fishing.
Sad fishing.
Can you guess what sad fishing is about?
Is this one word or two words?
It's one word.
Oh, okay, sad fishing.
Sad fishing.
What would sad fishing be? I'll take a guess. I don't know the answer. I will guess this is when you make a comment on social media and you're just kind of like fishing for people to say things back to you. For example, if I put on social media, "Whew, what a day."
Oh.
Then, I'm just fishing for people to say, "Oh, why, Steve? Are you okay? What happened?" Like that kind of thing.
That is included in sad fishing.
Oh, that drives me crazy when people do that on social media.
Because it's like catfishing,
Yeah,
right?
in a sense, yeah.
But yeah, it's sad fishing. So yes, it began on social media because this sad fishing, it usually happens on social media, and it's when people, like you said, either they give those like cryptic messages making you like ask for more information, or they just chronically overshare, maybe also exaggerate their emotional state because they want sympathy.
Is it only for sympathy?
Or attention.
If people are posting about happy things, for example, a friend of mine, he posted on social media, he was sitting on a private jet with no extra information.
Okay.
And it was the same kind of thing, right? Like, I called him out, or maybe later I talked to him about it, and I said, you just post that. You didn't put any information extra. Then I have to send you a message and say, what is going on here? Can it be for that? Is there happy fishing?
No. So that would be more in the flex category or like humble brag.
Yep.
But no, sad fishing is specifically like sad stuff, bad stuff. And basically, they love these messages of support they get. And then it encourages whoever's sad fishing to keep sharing more and more to get more outside validation to the point where you might actually want to block or hide the stories of this person because it is one type of attention-seeking behavior. And the quickest means to the validation end. So you think you've been sad-fished?
Ner got it right. Seeking for sympathy, she wrote.
Yes.
Have I been sad-fished?
What do you think?
Well, I see it on social media all the time. I think we see this in person too.
Yes.
You can do sad fishing in person?
It's possible in person. It's more common on social media, but yes, it's possible in person also.
If you're sitting in your office, right? And then the office is quiet, but then the person next to you, sitting next to you in the office, suddenly goes,
Or it could be unconscious.
and then you don't say anything, right? You don't say anything because you think I'm not falling for this.
Yes.
And then like 30 seconds later, you hear a little louder. Then that's sad fishing, isn't it?
I don't know if I'm not sure if that could be sad fishing because I accidentally pushed the record button on my phone in the past when I was walking to work, and I did the unconsciously so many times. And I wasn't trying to sad fish. I'm just like, I'm old and tired. So I'm going to go with no, that one's not sad fishing.
That's old fishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just I'm tired.
Yeah. Sad fishing. All right. That's a negative one.
Yes.
I guess we'll keep our... Don't respond is my advice for that one.
Yes.
When people do that.
Don't respond.
What's the next one?
This one's my favorite. It's trending on social media also, and it's called girl math. Here are some amazing examples of girl math.
Luca, I'm going to teach you the concept of girl math. So, $400 handbag. And you say, very expensive.
Too much money.
What if that handbag, I use that handbag every single day? I'm going to use it for work. I'm going to use it for travel. I'm going to use it as my going out bag.
That's good. But it doesn't change the price of the bag.
Okay, what if that bag is going to last me a few years. $400 divided by 365 is how much? 1.5. So you're telling me that my handbag is $1 a day? It's pretty much free. And that is girl math.
Girl math. Let's go over that. That was tough to hear that audio, so I'm going to go over that again a little bit. Okay, so the woman says, I'm going to teach you girl math. So she says, my handbag is $400, and you will say, and the man says, very expensive.
Yes.
The woman says, yeah, but if I use that every single day of my life, it's my stay-at-home bag, my going-out bag, my fancy bag, my
travel bag,
my bathroom bag, everything. It's my cooking bag. It's everything bag. Then that will cost me, if I have it for the rest of my life, $1 a day.
That's only 1 year, not even the rest of her life, just 1 year, because it's $1.09 approximately a day.
So in the end, she says, so that's pretty much free.
Yeah.
And that is girl math. So girl math is the justification, I guess, for paying a lot of money for objects or for items.
Yes, it's the rationalizations that women make to try to make themselves not feel guilty for making purchases.
How much is one of your samasuchi? What do you call them? Dolls.
Monchis.
Munchies.
Well, they range in price, but first of all, they're like children, so they're priceless. But yeah,
whenever you ask someone a question about the cost of something and they begin with a justification,
it could be. You can't put a price on your children, Steve.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah. So some examples. Here's more examples, simple ones of girl math. So if you paid in cash, it was free. Girl math.
Okay.
Okay. If you paid with a card for you and your friend, but then your friend paid you for their part in cash, you made money.
Okay.
Girl math.
Yeah.
Okay. If your favorite store is having a 20% sale and you don't buy anything, you're actually losing money.
That one I've heard before.
Yeah. And then girl math is not paying $15 for shipping and instead buying something else for $30 to get free shipping. Right?
Girl math, by the way, in 2023, I can see where some people might be offended by the term, like girl math. This is girl math. Is that okay to be using this term these days?
So you'd think if anyone were to be offended by girl math, it would be women, right? Because it's poking fun at the habit many women have. But surprisingly, it's not. It was men on social media who reacted, I'd say, venomously to what was supposed to be a lighthearted thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but instead of lashing out at the male social media trolls, girl math content creators made a new phrase. Boy math.
What's boy math? Is that when men rationalize spending a ton of money on, like, I don't know, video game station or something stereotypically that men would pay a lot of money for?
Yes, but it's not limited to spending habits. It's anything related to a number. So, for example, boy math is having a 70-inch TV, but no dining room table.
Okay.
Boy math is how 5'10" measures 6 feet.
Right. If the man is 5'10", but people ask him, how tall are you? And he says 6 feet.
Just round up a couple. All right. Now, some of these boy math examples, they were targeting very specific men, specifically politicians. In America, a lot of people like to make jokes about politicians, very common. American Representative AOC, she dropped boy math about Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, saying, boy math is needing 15 attempts to count the votes correctly to become speaker and then shutting down the government 9 months later.
Is an example of boy math, would that be when I wanted to fill my living, like get rid of my sofa and coffee table and just have beanbag chairs?
Yes.
Is that an example?
Probably, yes. Minus one sofa plus 3 beanbag chairs.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Boy math.
Math. You know, I never got support for that move.
Because do you not have back problems? How can you sit in the beanbag chair?
The only response I got was, what are you, 8? Yeah, you can do that. Are you 17 years old? So I never went through
Was that your wife that said that?
Never got any support for it.
Yeah, I support it because she already knew. That was Steve's boy math. Yeah, that's boy math.
Steve needs a boy room to do his boy math. All right, Melissa, thank you so much. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next week.
Stay with us for hour number 2. Avicii wraps up the first levels.
world. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
구 년 전, 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한대에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어 나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
괜찮아 괜찮아 조금 불편해도 환경을 위해 너무 괜찮아 일회용 컵 대신 머그컵 비닐봉지 대신 에코백 물티슈 대신 손수건 우리의 실천 하나하나 모여 세상을 바꿔요 깨끗한 세상 플라스틱 제로 일회용품 제로 함께해서 참 좋은 우리의 시민 불편한 너
이 캠페인은 부산환경공단이 함께합니다.
김밥가게 박 사장님도 문구점 김 사장님도 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
You're listening to Steve Hatherly Reboot on BEFM 90.5. That was The Wanted, Walks Like Rihanna. That was the third single from their 2013 album called Third Strike, and it's a summer anthem that was inspired by Rihanna, obviously. Top Parker said, "We feel like it's a little different from the usual Wanted sound. We stripped it back to pure pop. It's just a feel-good, fun tune." The Wanted worked with Dr. Luke on this song. The American producer had previously worked with the likes of Katy Perry, Britney Spears, and Kelly Clarkson. Asked by an interviewer whether Rihanna had heard the song, Tom Parker said, "We met her manager, Jay Brown, in New York, and he said that he really liked it and that she really liked it, which is always a good sign, because if she hated it, we'd be in a pretty bad place." That would be unfortunate, yes. If you wrote a song with someone's name and they said, "I don't like that very much." That tune got us into the second hour of Steve Hatherly Reboot. Thank you so much for staying with us on this Tuesday afternoon. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas, in Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3 and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. Coming up in hour number 2 of the show today, for our fun fact of the day, I think you're going to be surprised at how close we are to having flying cars in our lives. The first flying car has been approved by the FAA, that's the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States, and I've got all the little details we need to know about that through our Fun Fact of the Day segment today. Then after that, for tomorrow today, oh my goodness, is it expensive to own a car in Singapore? The answer is yep, it's shockingly expensive. If you've never heard about this before, then you are going to fall off your chair when I tell you how much it costs to own the right to own a car. Not to own a car. I'm saying about the thing that you have to pay for if you want to get a car. You might have to save up your whole life in order to get the certificate to own a car. Never mind saving up for the car itself. That's a second lifetime. I'll give you the details in that for our segment tomorrow today. We'll also have Today in Music. We'll find out what happened in today's music history, and I'll check your messages throughout the show as well. All right, question of the day today. Cars, they suddenly don't exist anymore. Are you happy about that, or are you not? 갑자기 차가 사라진다면 행복하신가요? 또는 아니신가요? Are you a car person? Napidi, are you a car guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you really like cars? No, not so much. There are some people out there that really, really, really love cars. Sometimes in Korea, you'll see it, where on the side of the road or in a parking lot, you'll see like 10 of the same car. It's a group. What that is it's a group meeting. They have some sort of like online club, and that day they've all met together to, I don't know what they do. I guess just go have lunch and talk about their cars or talk about tuning their cars or things like that. I like cars. I've never been into cars to that level or that extent. I don't think I would ever join a club. And maybe, you know, for people to meet new friends, it's a great opportunity. But I don't love cars that much. That's my point. So for me, if cars were to suddenly not exist anymore, I think I would be okay with that. We'd still have plenty of other ways to get around. We would have all of our public transportation options. Buses would still continue to exist, as would taxis, by the way. I'm only talking about our own personal cars, where we're not allowed to drive them anymore. Anyway, that's our question today. Share your thoughts on that. Text me, #sharp 9050. That will cost you 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send in messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores, and you can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. All right, let's get to our expression for today. This is from King the Land. And in this scene, they're talking about a situation where you are going to be removed from a situation very soon. And this is the sister and brother talking together. Now, in this drama, the sister and brother don't get along very well. The brother is the hotel heir. The sister is the current kind of head of the hotel, I think. And he's come back. He started working there. He's living at the hotel as well. She doesn't like it. She wants him to leave. And she says to him, they are going to remove you very soon. And this is what that sounds like.
금방 쫓겨날 거니까 너무 열심히 하지 마.
금방 쫓겨날 거니까 너무 열심히 하지 마. All right, so this is a new expression for me, actually. And what this means, well, let's go through it a little bit, and we'll break it apart piece by piece, and then see if we can find a new simple sentence in there. She said, 금방. 금방 means soon. Then comes the part that we're going to focus on, the 쫓겨날 거니까. All right, so the 거니까 part means because you will, and then the last part of the sentence is 너무 열심히 하지 마, meaning don't work too hard, don't try too hard, something like that. So, soon they will kick you out, so don't work too hard. And that's what that expression means. 쫓겨날다 or 쫓겨나다 means to be kicked out. Now, this is an expression that you probably will not get to use, or at least I hope, not too often in Korean and in English too, because to be kicked out of somewhere means you are removed against your will. It was not your decision to be removed. It was maybe the group's decision, and therefore they made the decision to not have you there anymore. Now, this can be used in Korean and in English in a really serious way, or it can be used in a very kind of fun, light-hearted way as well. Let's say that you are a university student and you get caught cheating. Well, if they catch you cheating, then probably they are going to kick you out. So, Na PD, help me out. Would I say, 뭐 대학교에 쫓겨났어요? They kicked me out of university. Okay? So it's how you would say that in English. And obviously, that's a super serious situation. But let's say that my wife goes to meet her girlfriends for some coffee. And I try to join at the coffee shop. And I can say, 뭐 커피숍 들어갔는데 바로 쫓겨났어요. I went in, but they immediately kicked me out. Now, obviously, that's being used in a very fun kind of way. So it's the same in English, same in Korean. It can be a serious situation or it can be a lighthearted situation as well. In Korean, she said, 금방 쫓겨날 거니까 너무 열심히 하지 마. Soon they will kick you out, so don't work too hard. And in English, that expression, to be kicked out of somewhere, to be removed against your will. Let's hear the expression or the sentence in Korean one more time.
금방 쫓겨날 거니까 너무 열심히 하지 마.
Yeah, it's not a very nice thing to say to someone, right? Well, they're going to kick you out soon, so don't work too hard while you're there. All right, those are your expressions for English and for Korean today. Hopefully that helps out your language a little bit. Again, in Korean, that sentence was really hard, so I'll give you that one more time, just a really short way to express that in Korean if you got kicked out of somewhere. In English, I got kicked out. In Korean, 쫓겨났어요 or 쫓겨났어. It's pretty simple. 4 syllables there. All right, there you go. That's it for today. We'll have a break, and when we come back, we'll get into our fun fact of the day. If you're thinking about buying a car, do not move to Singapore before you do that. It is outrageously expensive. We'll learn about it when we come back. Here's Pink. Raise your glass. That was Pink, Raise Your Glass, and now it's time for our fun fact of the day. Have you been to Singapore before? I've been 2 or 3 times. It's very hot. It's very humid. That's the first thing that you'll notice, I think, when you walk out of the airport is poof, you hit this wall of heat and humidity. And it's apparently always like that. I have a couple of friends who live there. That's why I visited on those occasions. What else can I say about Singapore? It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. The downtown area around the quays, like Clark Quay, where kind of the tourist area is, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. You can get great food there, but it's also insanely expensive. I remember watching some live music one night. My friends were both working so what I would do is, I would hang out with them a little bit after dinner. And then, of course, they had to wake up early the next morning. So they would go home, and then I would go out by myself a little bit. Not too late, but I would go out to the party area a little bit just to watch some live music. And I remember I went to a live music venue. There was this amazing Filipino band playing there. It was incredible. And I ordered a cocktail, and it was around 26,000 won. So I sipped on that very, very slowly. It's not a cheap place to go. One of my standout memories from that trip is down in the central business district area. Every single night they block off one of the streets and they turn it into, I think they call it Satay Street. And it's so very cool. So they block it off to all the cars and they serve chicken skewers and beer there. And that's where I met a very nice Korean couple, as a matter of fact. And that place is not overly expensive, as a matter of fact. But if you're downtown in Singapore at night, you feel like you're in the middle of a car show. I can't mention brand names, but just imagine the most expensive cars in the world. You see them all over the place in Singapore. Because to own a car in Singapore is for the rich and for the rich alone. Singapore is one of the most expensive countries in the world, and it's always been kind of a luxury to live there, I guess, for many people. Not everyone, of course. But costs have now soared to an all-time high. A 10-year, and we'll get into the details now of owning a car, a 10-year certificate of entitlement, that is a license that people must purchase before they are even allowed to buy a vehicle, now costs a record minimum of 76,000 US dollars. That's over 100,000 Singapore dollars. And that's more than 4 times than the cost in 2020, according to the Land Transport Authority figures. So did you catch that? If you want to own a car in Singapore, you have to buy a certificate. And that certificate is good for 10 years. And the cost of that certificate is $76,000. That's 7,600만 원, or maybe 8,500만 원. That's just for the certificate. That's not for the car. That's just so you can buy the car. If you don't have the certificate, you can't buy the car. And by the way, that certificate just buys the rights to a standard category A car with a small to medium-sized engine. Those who want a larger or flashier car, like, say, an SUV, then you have to pay $106,000 for the certificate. That's what? $40,000 more if you want a bigger car. That's for a Category B license. It's crazy, right? The cost of owning a vehicle in Singapore is absolutely out of control. Well, this quota system was introduced in 1990. The reason they make it so expensive, it's such a small place, Singapore, right? So they don't want a lot of cars on their roads. And the way that they get around that is to make it insanely expensive to own a car. Like I said, the quota system, it was introduced in 1990 to minimize traffic and reduce emissions in the country and in the city, where you have the population is around 6 million people, but not a whole lot of space at all. So what this has done is it's put cars out of reach for the average resident of Singapore, where the median monthly household income in 2022 was about $7,376. That's pretty high, isn't it? If we think about that in Korea, if you were to make $7,376 a month, well, that would be very good. But in Singapore, that's not a whole lot of money when you're thinking about potentially buying a car. It's just not even close, right? A local car dealer. If you're wondering how Singaporeans have reacted to this price increase, Ricky Go, he's one of the local car dealers, and he said when speaking to CNN, he said, "I nearly fainted when I heard about the price increase. Sales have already been so poor, so this, on top of that, will be even worse for business." There was another quote from a mother of two who said if she wanted to think about continuing owning her car, she'd have to get more jobs. It's just not economically feasible. She said, "I use my car a lot to send my kids to and from school and other activities like swimming lessons and things like that, maybe going to the grocery store. I need my car, but if this is going to be the price of it in the future, I'm not sure I'll be able to afford it." It's crazy, right? For the lowest level car, you have to buy a certificate for $76,000 before you even buy the car. And by the way, if you're wondering, well, how about the cost of the cars? Are those reasonably priced? No. My friend was looking at buying a new car maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and he looked at a Hyun blank, a Korean car, which in Korea would cost about $40,000 or 4천만 won. In Singapore at the time, he said the cost of that car, that would be $40,000 in Korea, was $120,000 in Singapore. 1억 2천 for a Hyun blank. And again, that's not the most luxurious Hyun blank model of car that they had. That's a basic level car for them. It's just astronomical. It's out of control. You can get a motorcycle if you want to, by the way. That's a whole lot cheaper. The permits for the motorcycles are around $8,000, 8,000 US dollars before you buy the motorcycle, by the way. But still, that's it. Did you know about this? It's insane. It's out of control. And that's how much it costs to get a certificate to get a car if you are interested in getting a car in Singapore. That's our fun fact of the day. We'll have a break. And when we come back, we'll talk tomorrow today. Here is Maroon 5 and Christina Aguilera, Moves Like Jagger. That was Maroon 5, Moves Like Jagger, and now it's time for Tomorrow Today. And I don't know about you, I mentioned this before. I don't think I ever thought I would see a world where we would have flying cars in our skies a la the Jetsons. You remember the Jetsons, the children's cartoon? I don't know if that's still on TV or not, but it was about this family that lived in space and they had flying cars there. Or Back to the Future, the DeLorean. I never thought we'd see it, but this could be, no, let me rephrase. This will be a reality by 2025. That's a year. That's a year and 2 months away. Unbelievable, right? By 2025, flying cars may no longer be exclusive to the magical world of Harry Potter or time-traveling cars operated by nutty scientists like we saw in Hollywood movies. The first flying car has been granted permission to take flight in the United States. This news came out very recently, where a California-based startup called Aleph announced that its fully electric flying car called Model A was granted legal permission by the Federal Aviation Administration to begin test driving the vehicle on roads and in the sky. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Aleph is the first company to receive a special airworthiness certification from the FAA, but the certificate limits the locations and purpose for which Aleph is permitted to fly. Well, I should hope so. It will need to meet safety standards from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration before being given full driving access. But this is a big deal. This is a quote from Jim Duchovny, who is Aleph's CEO. He said, "The historical significance of this cannot be overstated. While there have been pioneers like Terrafugia, Paul Mueller, Henry Ford, this is the first time a vehicle, in the traditional sense, parks and drives like a car, functions like a car, looks like a car, and has also received permission to fly." It's also important that Aleph is the first electric car which received permission to fly, and last but not least, the ability for vertical takeoff is central to most people's conception of a flying car. And that's exactly what this car does. So let's talk about how it works. Well, first of all, how much does it cost? It's going to cost you $300,000. It's about the cost of a certificate. How much would this cost in Singapore, I wonder? To get the car, it's going to cost you $300,000. You'll get a fully electric vehicle capable of flying and driving on roads with vertical takeoff and vertical landing capabilities. It will apparently carry 1 or 2 passengers and have a road range of around 200 miles and a flying range of about 110 miles. That's pretty impressive, I guess, when we think about the fact that you'll be able to go that far on the road and maybe that far in the air, because remember, this is on a battery charge, right? It is, however, considered a low-speed vehicle, and it will not travel faster than 25 miles per hour on paved surfaces. So this is quite slow. That's about, what is that, around 40 kilometers per hour? So this is going to be a very low-speed vehicle. Therefore, they say if you need to get there in a hurry, it's better to fly than it is to take the road. To take flight, the vehicle, it rises vertically. So this is how this works. It rises vertically in the air via 8 rotating blades located beneath its permeable bodywork. And then, after it rises a few meters in the air, the vehicle actually rotates sideways while the passenger seat simultaneously rotates so that the seat remains upright. So I guess after it lifts into the air, the car, which would be, I guess, parallel to the ground, it kind of changes its position so it becomes perpendicular to the ground, and then the driver's seat inside, it changes position as well so that it stays upright. It's all very cool, right? Anyway, if you want, you can pre-order this right now. If you go onto the company's website, you can put a down payment there to receive the $300,000 car. Of course, there's a waiting list. If you want to make a down payment, you only have to put $150 down, which is not a lot of money. But if you want to be on the priority list, then you have to make a payment of $150? No, $150 is for the cheaper one. $1,500 for the priority list. But like I said, they expect it to be on the market in 2025. They got the license for it. So obviously, in the beginning, they're going to be controlling where it can fly, where it can drive, things like that. It's super slow. You're not going to see these on the highways in the United States. It's only going to be about 40 kilometers per hour with its speed capabilities. But still, the fact that they've given the license for it and they've built it. If you look at the car, I looked at a picture of it. If you search it online, what you're going to see is a car that looks like a cell phone. Actually, that was my first impression. When you look at the image of it, it kind of looks like a fruit company phone with a case on it. So it looks pretty stylish. It looks like a car. And then when it starts to fly, it looks like something out of Star Wars or Star Trek. It's pretty cool. And we're not very far away from seeing these in the skies in America. How far until Korea gets those? Oh, it's kind of exciting to think about. Anyway, that is tomorrow's Today. Today is Tomorrow Today. We'll have another break, and when we come back, we'll get into Today in Music. Here are the Saturdays and Sean Paul. What about us?
Well, in come the thing them called Sean Paul, alongside the Saturdays.
was Saturdays and Sean Paul, What About Us? And now it's time for Today in Music. Let's have a look back on the calendar on this particular day to see what we can see. It is the 10th day of October. In 1969, King Crimson released their debut studio album called In the Court of the Crimson King. Rolling Stone magazine named this the second greatest progressive rock album of all time, behind Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. In 1970, Neil Diamond scored his first #1 hit as a recording artist with Cracklin' Rosie. Diamond, who began his career as a songwriter at the legendary Brill Building, had previously found success with several of his compositions, including the #1 hit I'm a Believer from the Monkees. In 1995, Peter Frampton releases Frampton Comes Alive 2. The album is the sequel to his 1975 smash Frampton Comes Alive 1. It would have to be. That was the best-selling album in history at that time. In 1999, U.S. teenager at the time, Christina Aguilera went to #1 on the UK singles chart with Genie in a Bottle. The song spent 5 weeks at the top spot, and it won Christina the Best New Artist Grammy for the year. In 2006, 21-year-old Lily Allen, who had gained fame in her native England, played for the first time in the United States, performing at the Hero Ballroom in New York City. And finally, today in 2014, Taylor Swift was named Billboard's Woman of the Year in 2014, making her the first artist to receive the award twice. The award goes to the female artist who has shaped and inspired the music industry with her success, leadership, and innovation over the last year. Why don't they just give that to her every single year? Because it seems like she deserves it every single year. That is today's Today in Music. Let's hear a couple of songs from the artists that we talked about. Let's go with King Crimson, I Talk to the Wind, and then Peter Frampton, Show Me the Way, the live version. That was Peter Frampton's live version of Show Me the Way, and before that, King Crimson, I Talk to the Wind. So I was curious to know, because I was talking about that flying car and how it got approved for licensing in the United States, and then I thought, curious about Korea, because Korea is one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world, so they can't be too far behind, I wouldn't think. So I just did a quick search, and this is what I found. This is an article from earlier this year. This is from CNBC. South Korean telecommunications giant Telecom is planning to launch flying taxis in 2025 and expects it to generate significant revenue going forward. So last year, Telecom here in Korea teamed up with a firm called Joby Aviation, and they are going to be developing air taxis for the Korean market. Joby Aviation is a maker of these so-called electric vehicle vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. That's exactly the same type of vehicle we just talked about in that previous story, but this is a completely different company. So obviously, there are a lot of different companies working on this right now. Anyway, the South Korean government is pushing forward and trying to commercialize air taxis by 2025. It's the same year that we were talking about in the United States. We take a taxi in the air to work. You can fly to work. Oh, that would be super cool. I would totally do that. But I don't know how they're going to work out, for the air, like roadways, air traffic. How do you know where you're allowed to go and where you're not allowed to go? And you need a whole developed system for that, right? Which I'm sure they will have, but be very complicated to develop, that's for sure. All right, that's going to do it for the program for this afternoon. Thank you very much for being with me on Steve Hatherly Reboot over the last couple of hours. Thank you to Melissa for today's Officially Amazing. Thank you to you, as always, for your listenership and your participation. I've been your host, Steve Hatherly, and today we'll wrap it up with this, Randy Crawford's Captain of Her Heart. Enjoy that, enjoy your day, and we'll reboot again tomorrow.